Let us discuss about atypical ribs. First rib, second rib, 11th rib and 12th rib. They are considered as atypical ribs because they have got some peculiar features. So coming to the first rib, as you can see here, it is the shortest, strongest, flattest and most curved of all ribs. It consists of the superior and the inferior surfaces. The superior surface, and below we have the inferior surface, and we have got the outer border and the inner border. So first rib, it consists of the superior surface, inferior surface, the outer border and the inner border. The head of the first rib, it has a single facet as it articulates only with the first thoracic vertebra. The head of the first rib, as you can see here, it has a single articular facet which articulates with the first thoracic vertebra. The tubercle of the first rib, it is prominent and it coincides with the angle. Now if you see this diagram, the upper surface of the first rib, it has two shallow grooves. One anterior groove, the other is posterior groove. You can see in this diagram as well, this is the anterior groove and this is the posterior groove. Anterior groove, it lodges subclavian vein, whereas the posterior groove, it lodges the subclavian artery. And these two grooves, the anterior groove and the posterior groove, they are separated by means of a tubercle which is present on the inner border near to these grooves. This tubercle is known as the scalene tubercle. So the scalene tubercle, it is present on the inner border of the first rib, which separates the anterior groove from the posterior groove. The lower smooth surface of the first rib, it does not have a costal groove. Coming to the attachments and relations of the first rib, the superior surface or the upper surface of the first rib, there is a groove for the subclavian artery. Behind the groove for subclavian artery, we have the attachment of scalenus medius muscle. The scalene tubercle, it gives attachment to the scalenus anterior muscle. The scalene tubercle gives attachment to the scalenus anterior muscle. Now, anterior end of the upper surface of the rib gives attachment to the subclavius muscle. Anterior end of the upper surface of the first rib near the costal cartilage gives attachment to the subclavius muscle. Outer border of the rib near the groove for subclavian artery is the attachment of the first digitation of the serratus anterior muscle. And also the intercostal muscles are attached to the outer border of the first rib. Now the costoclavicular ligament, it is attached to the rough area in front of the subclavian vein. The costoclavicular ligament, it is attached to the roughened area which is present on the anterior aspect of the subclavian vein. The suprapleural membrane or the Simpson's fascia, as you can see here, the suprapleural membrane or the Simpson's fascia, it is attached to the inner border of the first rib. In detail, we will be studying in further classes about suprapleural membrane, but for time being, you remember that the suprapleural membrane, it is attached to the inner border of the first rib. It is also known as the Simpson's fascia. The groove for the subclavian artery lodges the subclavian artery, and also it contains the lower trunk of the brachial plexus. So groove for the subclavian artery, it lodges the subclavian artery and also it contains lower trunk of the brachial plexus. The inferior surface of the first rib, which is not shown here, it is smooth and it is related to the pleura and lung. Now there are three important structures which lie on the anterior aspect of the neck of the first rib. The three important structures which lie on the anterior aspect of the neck of the first rib. From medial to lateral side, we have the sympathetic trunk, then the superior intercostal artery, which is accompanied by intercostal vein. Then we have ventral ramus of the first thoracic nerve. Which joins with the brachial plexus. So these are the three important structures at the anterior aspect of the first rib. So with this we have completed the attachments of the first rib. So there are important attachments over the upper surface of the first rib, and also inner border gives attachment to the Simpson's fascia. The scalene tubercle gives attachment to scalenus anterior muscle. The outer border gives attachment to intercostal muscles. First digitation of serratus anterior, whereas the inferior surface or the lower surface, it is related to pleura and lung. Now coming to the second rib. If you see the second rib, the shaft of the second rib, it is not twisted. The shaft of the second rib is not twisted. So when it is placed on a flat surface, both the ends, they touch the surface, which makes it atypical rib. So the shaft is not twisted even for the first rib. So when the first and second rib, when they are placed on flat surface, both the anterior end and posterior end, they touch the surface. Now coming to the 11th and 12th ribs, these ribs, they have got single articular facet on the head. The 11th and 12th ribs, they have got single articular facet on the head, and these ribs they articulate only with the corresponding vertebra. The 11th and 12th ribs, they have got only a single articular facet through which they articulate with the corresponding vertebra. They have large heads, as you can see in this diagram. This is the head of the 11th rib and this is the head of the 12th rib. So these ribs, they do not have neck and tubercles. The 11th and 12th ribs do not have neck and the tubercles, and their anterior ends are pointed. Now we will see the attachments of the 12th rib, because the first rib and the 12th rib, they are important from examination point of view. Most frequently asked questions in the final university examinations. So we'll learn about 12th rib. Now these are the attachments of the 12th rib. This is the outer surface, or you can say the posterior surface of the 12th rib, the superior border and the inferior border. This is the inner surface, or you can say anterior surface of the 12th rib. Near the medial end of the 12th rib is the attachment of the costotransverse ligament and the lumbosacral ligament. So these two ligaments are attached to the medial end of the outer surface of the 12th rib. Then medial portion of the outer surface of the 12th rib gives insertion to the levator costae and erector spinae group of muscles. The lateral end and the outer surface of the 12th rib gives attachment to the latissimus dorsi and external oblique muscle. And in between these two, we also see the attachment of serratus posterior inferior muscle. So these are the attachments on the posterior surface or the outer surface of the 12th rib. Near its medial end, we have the attachment of costovertebral ligament and lumbocostal ligament. Medial portion of the outer surface or the posterior surface gives insertion to the levator costae and erector spinae group of muscles, and lateral end of the outer surface of the 12th rib gives attachment to the latissimus dorsi, external oblique muscle and serratus posterior inferior muscle. Now coming to the anterior or the inner surface of the 12th rib, the superior border gives attachment to the internal intercostal muscle, and near the medial end at the lower border is the attachment of quadratus lumborum muscle. Now there is an attachment of thoracolumbar fascia which has got three layers: the anterior layer, middle layer and the posterior layer. Anterior layer, it is attached to the anterior surface or the inner surface just above the attachment of the quadratus lumborum. So this is the attachment of the anterior layer of the thoracolumbar fascia. Middle layer, it is attached to the lower border below the attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle. The posterior layer to the lower border lateral to the attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle. So this is the attachment of the thoracolumbar fascia, which is being divided into anterior layer, middle layer and the posterior layer. Then we have lateral arcuate ligament. The lateral arcuate ligament is attached to the lower border at the lateral end of the area for the attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle. So here we have the attachment of the lateral arcuate ligament. The lateral part of the anterior surface gives attachment to the diaphragm, and the area above the quadratus lumborum on the anterior surface, it is in contact with the pleura and especially with the costodiaphragmatic recess. So these are the attachments of the 12th rib. The outer surface or the posterior surface, inner surface or the anterior surface. Coming to the clinical anatomy, there is a condition which is known as the cervical rib, where you find an additional rib in the cervical region. So this is a common variation is at the C7 vertebra, which has a rib on one side or both sides. So a rib arising from the anterior tubercle of the transverse process of the 7th cervical vertebra. It occurs in about 0.5% of humans, and it may be connected to the first rib by a fibrous band or may articulate with the first rib. So if it is present, it may compress the lower trunk of the brachial plexus and the subclavian artery. So with this, we have completed introduction to the thorax and the osteology of ribs. We saw different types of ribs, true ribs and false ribs, typical ribs and atypical ribs. Among these, the atypical ribs, the first rib and the 12th rib, are very important from examination point of view. The anatomical position, site determination will be taught in the dissection hall. Thank you.